John Melton coming to you live with realjohnmelton.com. At the Speak Your Team Rich event in Fort Myers, Florida. And we actually have a very, very special interview with the man himself, Mr. Curtis Broome. And understand that Curtis is not only a co-founder of a network marketing company, been in the industry for 27 years, mentored legends in our industry. Also the MC of the GoPro events with Eric Worre, but he's just got a big heart. He's helped so many people, and the dude knows his stuff. So we've got a few minutes of his time, and I'm going to turn it over to Nadya to ask some fantastic questions.
Here's the actual magic as you do it. I've had great mentors, and I just repeat what I've learned. So that's what we're doing. We're teaching what we taught. That's what we all do. We learn it, we teach it.
The humble nature he brings to the table. So here's what I'll say. He's been training us for 3 days, and there's so much goodness that it's hard to sum it up in a couple minutes. But let's face it, we are up for that challenge.
I didn't want to be stingy with the goodness.
Exactly.
Yes, hashtag awesomeness. Okay, why don't you hold it? Let us outsource. Okay. So Curtis.
You've been
so
outsourced.
Since he is like the MC of the biggest training event, so the man delivered a training all about public speaking, how to be more magnetic, how to impact, how to really rock it and create that legacy, right? Because every word we create is really powerful. So here's my question for you. How do we become more magnetic and also influential when speaking? So whether it's an entrepreneur, whether it's a network marketer, at the end of the day, speaking is kind of like a high-paying activity.
Sure.
Okay,
of course.
Let us talk
you know,
about
even what he mentioned, he said, if you want to know how to make money, follow the person with the clicker.
Yes.
Very good.
Exactly.
Person from the room makes all the money.
There you go. That helps.
Very good.
Well, let me do this. Let me start real quick for everybody and just let you know, years ago, I did do a lot of professional speaking. And so what I'm going to share with you and what I shared here is what I learned from tremendous individuals starting 20 years ago who were professionals at that, at communicating effectively. Two things. First of all, the first two magic things. Number one, if you're going to get up to talk, make sure you know your stuff. In other words, you really if you are focusing on what you're saying, you're never going to be able to say it effectively. You need to know what you're saying. You need to have practiced it. You need to feel so comfortable with it that you know that your lips and mouth could almost make the noise without thought. So that what you do, if you want to speak magnetically, you need to be focusing on who you're talking to and talking with, just to see if it's making an impact. And I learned that years ago when I would speak, I would actually put a camera, not to film me, but I would actually put a camera facing the audience when I spoke, and I would go back and watch it. Because I could hear what I was saying, and I would hear some things I wanted to change, but I would suddenly see that I wasn't having nearly the impact that I thought I was, and I would have to adjust. And so most importantly, if you want to have a great impact, make sure that you know your stuff. And then number two, this was the easy one. No, not the easy one. It's just the most common one. Just do it 1,000 times. There's no book you can read. There's no course you need to take.
I totally agree.
You're going to be really sucky at first, and you're going to be then really bad, and then really horrific, and then terrifying, and then not so terrifying, and mediocre, and then really just badly average and slightly okay, and then one day at 1,000 you're really good. Do it that way. Those are the first two things. The second thing is there are ways to learn. I tell people this: we all have three voices, and the three voices are: we have a presentation voice, a broadcast voice. And anybody who's been a parent, you went out back and your child was not where they're supposed to be, and you say, John Melton, right now, get out of the sandbox and get in the house.
I know how to do that.
That sounds familiar.
That's the broadcast voice. We all have that. Don't stand up and broadcast all the time, you'll kill them. But it's sometimes good to create authority and create power, stand up and do that. Second thing is we all have a consultative voice. Just imagine you were sitting in a kitchen, you know how to bake a cake, a friend is there, and you're just teaching them, here's how you bake a cake. It's just a very instructional voice. But the voice that moves people, that is the most magnetic and most impacting, is the one that is the quietest. And it's what's called the empathetic voice. And you all had that in our life. We had a friend who went through a tragedy or a disappointment, and that's where you're sitting at the kitchen table or you're sitting on the sofa with a good friend, you slow down, you speak a little more slowly, and you really come from the heart because you truly believe it and you truly mean it, and you want to make a point that is of importance because you're about serving, and I'm sharing this for your benefit. When people stand up and speak and they for some reason think they need to speak in this official kind of a thing, you're just killing people. And so if you want to be magnetic, be human, be yourself, and be conversational for the majority of the time. So know your stuff, do it 1,000 times, and know that the greatest power is conversational, not anything slick or fancy.
And then when we record the crowd, they're going to be like, dude, that guy's legit.
There you go.
That guy
That's
Curtis
so
is
good.
the man.
And Curtis, here's another thing that you said that was so like, aha, that really helps. And that is, you know, when you feel that you're so nervous, and it's usually lack of proper perspective. So can you define
that was
what
good.
should be our thoughts before going into a presentation?
Sure.
And also the breathing thing.
Yeah.
I love that.
Well,
okay.
okay.
All right.
Here's what it is. I talk to people about nerves and nervousness. First of all, it's natural. They asked Barbara Streisand after a 50-year career, do you get nervous? She said, if you don't, you're probably dead.
Correct.
So if she gets nerves, I'm sure we all do. Here's the thing. Nerves are natural, but most of fear of speaking is a focus on the wrong thing.
Exactly.
And what I mean is, if you are truly speaking with a message of value, you need to understand that if you're fearful, it's because you're making it about you and not them.
Right. Right.
If you truly have a servant heart and you have a desire to give and to help, then there should be no fear. And if you really are fearful, stand up, and one of the first things you can do is be honest. Say, folks, I want you to know this isn't what I do normally, and I'm actually kind of nervous, but I feel that what I have to share is so important. It's more important to me than my nerves. People will immediately love you, so you don't have to be a polished speaker. But the focus is that you're focusing on you and whether or not you look cool, rather than on them and serving. Think about it. Mother Teresa would have had no problem standing in front of a stadium of 1 million people to talk about the need to take care of disadvantaged children, because she cared nothing of herself, and all she wanted to do was give. So if you will focus on a giving heart and on a serving heart, and then what you do is, before you get started, a couple of things. One, make sure you stretch out your body, which will expand your chest. People get nervous, they shrink down, and they breathe very shallow. If you'll literally. Second thing is, put your shoulder blades together, which will expand your lungs and chest. Take big deep breath, and then let it out slowly, at least 3. And if they're just introducing you, as you let it out, say to yourself, you got this.
You got this.
And then walk up. And because why?
Should you say you got this or I got this?
Or say I
got this.
Say
I
I
did
got
that
this.
yesterday before the panel. Before
I would say to you, you got
maybe
this.
you did have it.
But just say to yourself, I got this, because here's what you
Maybe
just
you're
said.
cutting off my face for sure.
In your mind, you need to say, I'm here to give value and to serve.
Perfect.
Take big deep breaths. I got this. Your focus will be completely on them. If you're still really nervous, go out, and it's what I call PPC. It is posture, position, and then connect.
Yes.
Get your shoulders back so you don't constrict your breathing.
Good.
Stand in the middle of the stage, don't have to move. Just stand there and look people in the eye, and then whatever you're feeling, be honest. And if it's, guys, I'm a little nervous, if you'll just bear with me, I just care so much about what I want to share. I'm here to give you all I have.
Love it.
They'll love you, and then just be conversational, and you're going to be magic. Do that 1,000 times, you'll be great. And anyone who is so fearful they can barely breathe, they can break through it, and with time, they'll be one of the greatest, most magical communicators.
Hashtag wow.
So.
Okay, so one more question.
Yep,
Let
absolutely.
us squeeze it in. Let us do it. Okay, so Curtis, so here's what I see personally, right? It's problem for most people, and the reason why maybe they have anxiety about really kind of presenting themselves is maybe they kind of don't think that their goodness is needed by the world. So maybe the question that could be a great one is, how do we get our goodness out? How do we become less stingy?
Don't be stingy with the goodness. We're giving.
So what do you have, like a tip or two, like for somebody that's like a little bit nervous, like a little bit like, I don't know, like if that could impact, but you know, their story needs to be heard, and it's going to inspire so many people.
I've had, now this is going to be, and I won't name some names, but I'll mention a couple of circumstances. I know some truly multi-million-dollar earners who have been in the network marketing profession for literally 20 plus, 25 plus years. And it was a husband and wife team, and the wife had her husband is so dynamic that she was great one-on-one. Everybody loved her, and she had literally never in her entire life stood up and spoken in front of people.
Wow.
And she said, because I don't believe he is so good, I don't believe it would give value. And it was a magic thing that actually Eric Worre said to her. He said, I can't believe you're so selfish. And she was almost taken aback. And she said, what do you mean? She was almost hurt and offended. He said, listen, you represent so many people.
Yes.
The same feelings you have, so many do. People look at your husband, and it's great that he's so magical and outgoing in that regard, but that's so few people. So he gives what he has and who he is, but they need to hear from you. And so she literally started going up on stage, and she was so fearful. Now this is someone who literally was a top rank in her company for over 15 years, a multi-million dollar earner, and was literally shivering.
Wow.
She went out, and so the first time she did it by sitting down in a chair behind a podium, so that, because she said, I just don't think I can stand. And she simply shared her story, and the applause, the standing ovation was so tremendous because when she gave from her heart.
Right.
And so if you will realize, the majority of the people out there, if you have found something that you believe in your heart is truly life-changing, if it's truly taking control of your spirit, there are so many people out there who are so uncertain and searching that literally, if you'll just be honest, say, yes, I'm nervous, you can set it aside. They will stop, at least they won't see your nervousness. What they will see is your love and your passion for wanting to give them the hope that you found. And that's why your goodness is important. So it's not about how good you are at presenting, it's about who you are when you present.
Perfect.
It's not about what you say, it's about how you say it. And I don't mean by saying it like a polished Zig Ziglar or Anthony Robbins. I mean saying it by someone who comes with true love in your heart. So
and
that's why you shouldn't be stingy with your
and
goodness.
they don't need, and you don't need to try to be something you're not. You know, and that's, I think, something, evolution that all of us go through, is we finally embrace our uniqueness and like all of our differences, and we go, you know what, like God made me the way that He made me, because I'm the only one that can say it like I say it, with the accent, with the little spiciness. And you know what, I don't need to be some stiff person with the stick up my you know what, just to fit the mold. So I think we need to embrace our goodness, right? And embrace our value, and just come from the heart and ask, how can my story really bring value to the world?
Don't make it about you, make it about them. It's not about you, it's about them.
Was this valuable? Seriously, I am so blown away. You have such a gift to pack like a punch that's like a machine gun,
you
like
are so
so much
sweet.
goodness,
She's
so
sweet.
fast.
Agreed.
But don't you agree with what I'm saying?
Yes,
This is
I
such
do.
a perfect
I do.
visual.
I do. Thanks.
I don't think there could be a better one. So thank you so much, you guys. If you got value from this video, can you do us, like literally jump below this video and share your biggest aha moment so Curtis could see the goodness is affecting your life.
Share,
and
like,
then,
comment. Share, like, comment.
Of course,
Yes.
don't be stingy. That
be stingy.
seems to be the message. So if you got value, make sure you pass it on. And last but not least, be sure that you're part of our VIP community, where we email you the goodness that we capture clearly here on the spot, you know, with our selfie stick. You know, you don't need much to capture the goodness and share. So
That's
thank
it.
you so much.
You are
That
so
was
welcome.
amazing.
Thanks so much.
That was the best
Thanks so much.
interview.